Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Quest Leadership Live on Facebook, here on YouTube, and all of our channels. We're excited that you joined us. I'm Tom Tony, your host. And today we're going to talk a little bit about why values matter. Now, I'm no pool shark, but I'm here with a pool table, and we're going to use this idea to talk a little bit about why values matter. So stick around as we get ready for Quest Leadership. So I'm going to try a shot here. Wish me luck. 12 ball side pocket. And that's how the game is played. Oh, like I say, I'm not a pool shark, but I do enjoy playing the game. It's a lot of fun. But here's what I know about the game of billiards is that pool or billiards is a reactionary game. In other words, what you do, how the shot that you currently take has a huge impact on the setting of the table, how the table sets up, and what happens next. In fact, as you play the game of pool, what you want to try to do is take one shot with the next shot in mind. So the shot that I just took, I knocked the 12 ball stripes into the side pocket. And now if you look behind me here, you can see my cue ball traveled down the table just a little bit, right over here. And now I have my next shot would be to do something with a 13. Now, if I'd have played that shot right, I would have caromed off the 12 a little bit harder and drawn the ball down here closer to the 13. Now, if I had done that, then I would have set myself up for the next shot, which would be 13 corner pocket, and I would continue to play that way until I knocked all of my balls in. And so, pool is based on that idea of setting yourself up for what's next. It's a dynamic between the shot I'm currently taking and how I know the table is setting up what I'm going to need to keep progressing. And so I want to kind of use this idea to talk very briefly about today the reason that values matter in coaching, mentoring, teaching, and leading our students. They matter because what we do in one instance has an impact on how then the table's going to set up, how the future is going to play out. And we as leaders, teachers, and coaches have to have kind of that forward-thinking mentality that allows us to stay set up for the future. Now, here's a question I have for you. You are sitting in front of a computer right now, most likely watching this, maybe on your mobile phone. Maybe you're listening as you're driving in your car. But when you got up today, you got dressed. You put on an outfit. I'm curious, what outfit did you put on? Think about the shirt that you're wearing. Think about the shoes that you have on. Maybe you're wearing a hat like I am today. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you had to dress a certain way for work. Maybe you're getting to work from home, so you're dressing great on the upper half and just casual on the lower half. But no matter what you're wearing currently, I want you to think about why you chose those things. Why did you choose to put on that outfit? You might say, well, it's the first thing that was available, or I really like the way it makes me look, so on and so forth. All of those reasons that we have for choosing what we wore today are values. There's a value connected to that choice. You might say, well, I didn't really think about it. I just grabbed the first thing that was there. Well, that's a value, the value of being quick, the value of it doesn't really matter. How I look today doesn't really matter. That's a value. And those values drive. If it did matter, you might have made a different choice, and that value would have driven that choice. So after you got dressed, you had breakfast. So I'm curious, what did you have for breakfast? What did you eat today? Today I had a little bit of an omelet, some eggs, and some vegetables, and a little bit of toast. What do you have? What did you eat? And there certainly were values that drove my choices. There's some health things that I'm thinking about, nutrition and being fit in there that are driving some of the values that I'm currently making about how I eat. What about you? What drove what you ate? Maybe it was the way something tasted. Maybe it just was sound. Maybe it was what was available. Maybe you didn't want to waste certain products. You're like, you know what? I got to get rid of this. It's about to expire. I better use it. No matter what we chose, there were values that were driving those choices. And those choices that we make add up into the collective experience of our lives. In fact, the choice that we make in one instance sets us up for all following instances, sets us up for how we're going to have to react to what happens next. And it's just like the game of pool. The dynamics of this shot impact my ability to execute properly in the next season, the next shot. So what I want you to draw back on, and this is the idea of values. What's driving you? Why do you do what you do? Why do you choose what you choose? Why do you react in certain situations the way that you react? Why do you use certain phrases again and again? Why are there certain things that you like? Why do you like the movies that you like? As we begin to explore a little bit of the why and the values behind our choices, here's what I want to just really, this is the part I want to turn on for you today. The part I want you to think about is that if it's true for you, if there are values that are driving you and how you interact with your world, how you react to people around you, to situations around you, how you treat other people, how you treat yourself. If there are values that are driving those things for you, where did they come from? Where did those values begin to get their strength in your life, their power in your life? If we allow ourselves to really think for a little bit about the choices that we make, what we'll recognize is that if we go backward in time, there were things that happened all throughout our history that have led to this value. And it's precisely what we see here in the game of pool. I was able just a second ago to sink a shot into that corner pocket, but I was only able to do that because if I back up, the previous shot I took set me up for that shot. I could go through that process for the whole game. I could back up from where I ended. If I won the game, if I was the one to put the 8-ball in the pocket first, I could literally back up to every shot and show you the pattern that led me to that victory. Same is true as if I lost the game. If I didn't win, I could back up through every shot and show you every shot that I took and its relationship to the next and how that left me in a position to not succeed. The same is true for us, for every one of us. Whether we're succeeding, advancing, we feel stagnant, if we feel like that we're gaining momentum on our dreams and our goals, it's directly because of the choices that we make, and those choices are driven by values. So understanding this basic principle of how values drive us every day, the next question that we have to ask is, where do those values come from? And if we go back far enough in life, we get to a place where we recognize that our values come from the influences and the environments and the interactions and experiences that we have with the world around us. A lot of times, many of which we have no control over, especially as we're younger. There's the collective of our experience that begin to build and form in us values that later on become an intrinsic part of how we're making choices and how we're navigating the game of life. Here's what I want you to take away. We know this is how it works for us. But rather than digging in necessarily just to your own values, this is the one thought I want to turn on for you today, the one thing I want you to consider. Where it concerns mentoring, coaching, leading, and influencing young students. If our values are driving us today, if our values are determining our choices, and if our choices are aligning us for the next choice and ultimately deciding whether we succeed or whether we potentially fail or experience setback or challenge, if it's true for us, is it also true for our students? If the values that drive you and I today were built early in life, is it true? Could it be true that right now, the students that you're impacting, influencing, coaching, leading, mentoring, their values are currently being established? How they make their choices already are coming from a place of personal value. That insight for us can help us to think forward about the success of every individual student. All their experiences are individual. No two of them precisely alike. Very dynamic in nature, just like every shot on this billiards table. Every shot requires forethought. Every shot requires concentration and focus. Every thought requires great intention for the future. And the same thing is true for us in coaching our students. Everything we do requires great intention for their future. And when I say their future, I'm talking about every individual future, not just the collective of all students, but the individually focused future of that one student. And their values are being formed, and their values will forever drive their decisions. Why do values matter? Values matter because they determine the outcomes of our lives. Values matter because they drive our relationships. They drive who we hang out with. They drive how we choose a career. Those values intrinsic to who we are, we have the chance as coaches and leaders and teachers to impact those values in the lives of our students. So we've got to think ahead. What's the next shot? Where do we want this? Where do we want the cue ball to stop? How do we want to position ourselves for the next step? How do we want to position that student for the next step? And we always have to be thinking ahead about who they are, what they value, how that plays out in their lives, how we can impact and influence those values and set them up for success. I hope that's helpful for you today. I know this is a part of our growing process. It's a part of our maturing process as mentors and coaches, is that we recognize, hey, it was true for us. And if it's true for us, it's got to be true for them. If it's how we've become who we are, then it's how they're becoming who they will be. And so we have a chance to influence and impact that journey. And that's why values matter. So I hope this is helpful today. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback on it. Please feel free to drop me a comment here on this Facebook Live or on YouTube, wherever you might be. Thanks for joining me today. Listen, like and subscribe to our Facebook page. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Go check out our website, quest.org. We're excited about where this movement is going and what this resource is doing for the next generation. So until next time, keep building strong young leaders.